Well met. This has been Brode, and you're watching Born to be
Cosmo.
Oh, snap.
Welcome to Born to be Cosmo, the flexibly scheduled podcast about all things Marvel Snap. Flexible in timing and also flexible in camera usage. We're all off cam because we had some excellent cosplay we wanted to share with you guys. We just didn't feel like dealing with the lights and all that comes with having to be on camera, so we can have a nice casual chat about Marvel Snap. I am happy to be back. Last episode we had Joe on. I was supposed to be there, but I was unwell. I also took a little bit of a break last month. I was really focusing on Pokemon trading card game Pocket, wanting to hit Master Ball on that, and I did, and it was miserable, and I swore I'd never do it again. And it was fortuitous timing because basically this month in Snap coincided with the economy rework, and I'd fallen quite behind. And figured we could talk a little bit about that. But before I get into that, I just want to recognize and introduce my co-casters, Nate Wolfe and ZombiesGoNomNom. Happy to be here and being able to talk about Snap and having some positive things to share as well.
Hello.
Yo.
So economy rework. Good. That is my review. Good night.
It's been
No
easier. It's been easier to obtain the new cards. They do feel a little bit cheaper, I will say.
I came back and immediately I got 3 cards after I'd been away for some time. I got Moonstone, Sam Wilson, and Malekith, and that was not having Sam Wilson these past few months felt like I was bringing a 22 to a genuine gunfight with big weapons. Of course, Sam Wilson's been nerfed like 100 times, but still a pretty pivotal card and one that I've been enjoying. So yeah, more agency. Feels like, I'm sure someone did the math on this, but it feels like the price generally has come down considerably. And yeah, it felt pretty easy to jump back in, and I hit 90 last month. I wasn't really trying, and then with having the new cards, I was able to easily hit infinite in the first week because I had the missing tools, and I was happy that these changes seemingly makes it easier to acquire what it is that you wish to acquire. So yeah, I mean, even though the system feels very much like the one that Spotlight's replaced, yeah. I still am grateful for the change, and I have to say that it has been really nice to be able to acquire cards without having to drop hundreds of dollars. And I mean, straight up, and I say this as someone who is a fanatical Pokemon devotee, I like Pocket. Grinding Pocket Ladder was absolute misery. And playing Snap once again, it just plays better. It's just a better card game. And, it's also less sweaty. At least the latter experiences. I still dislike Conquest. But yeah, I think that the mechanisms that it introduced to get players caught up or to allow them to get the cards they want with less variance, it seemingly seems to have delivered on that. And I have to say, it feels a lot better getting 3,000 tokens on the reward track than a spotlight key. I won't miss those freaking spotlights.
Yeah, they're way better. I cannot tell you the number of times that I've spent weeks. Well, we've said like, hey, it took me 4 keys to get this card, and then you end up with and already owned and a couple variants you don't want. So
Yeah, it's like
now
really
we don't have to do that anymore.
uh, and so it's nice not to deal with that anymore. And now, if you're a returning player, you can more easily actually get those cards you want. You don't have to wait 8 months for Sam Wilson to show up in a spotlight or whatever it is. It was really bad. I think like on average, if you didn't buy it with tokens, it took like 8 or 9 months for a season pass card to show back up if you missed it, which is like it's a really long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been pretty good, I have to say, and I hope that seemingly the stability this has brought to the game economy remains. They are
Yeah.
going to be releasing more cards. However, they're not all going to be acquired by tokens. Some of them will be acquired by those limited time events, and I believe, if my memory isn't betraying me, there's going to be one next season, not this
Yeah, so
season.
the data mines, there's some event next season. We're gonna get 2 Series 4 cards through an event, and then they're gonna be releasing 2 in the store/packs.
Right.
So they're gonna be 4, but it's interesting. I think in general, the Series 4 cards definitely are a bit more niche. Like a lot of the recent ones were a bunch of move cards. So it's like if you're not a big move person, you don't miss out too much if you're skipping on those. Um, and I think we're gonna see not all of them, but like a lot of them maintain that kind of space where they aren't like must-haves, but good for a specific archetype.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I haven't participated in a limited time game mode since the second high voltage.
Mhm.
And there's a question as to what the event will be. I would be surprised if it was high voltage. So
Yeah, I'm guessing Diner or either they finally revamp Diner or they could bring back Sanctum. If they were to bring back High Voltage, it would really need to be different in some way because I think running High Voltage the exact same 2 months in a row is not very fun. Um, I think the strength of the events is to have a few so you can, space them out.
Yeah.
Or if you're gonna run it back to back, like change up the ban list or something, like or change up something with the mode, like do something to make it different. That's all.
Having
That's my
a
only request.
we talked about it a little bit last time, but having them change up the ban list would make it probably really interesting, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
it's just a simple way to make it like if you're. I still don't think they should run the same ones back to back months, but if you're gonna do that, at least do something like that to spice it up a little.
Yeah.
I hope it is Sanctum, only because I haven't tried it, and
Sanctum is great.
I'm kind of scared that Deadpool's Diner 3.0 will just be another like minor change, such that that'll become like a meme. And I don't know. I'm not looking forward to it. I do think that Sanctum, I was following along. I didn't participate in it, and it was a lot less sweaty than a lot of people thought. But they also gave extra limited mode
Yeah, through the top.
currency. Yeah, and I guess there's no guarantee that'll happen again. So that would be
No,
something to.
it wouldn't surprise me if that was a bug or whatever.
Well, sure, but perhaps the hope is that they learned from what they observed. But I mean, if that was the case, then perhaps then we wouldn't have to wait until the 29th to have balance changes made.
Yeah.
So yeah, which will no doubt be something we're going to talk about. But yeah, I am curious to see what the limited game mode will be, and I definitely think that I'll be um, more open to participating this time because I'll have the necessary tools to engage with it. And yeah, I kind of regret missing out on the previous event. I think it was just frustration and timing. Um,
Yeah.
more than anything else, really timing. But yeah, so more cards are coming, and so this is kind of the worry that I have is that when they introduced the spotlight system, like, everyone did the numbers, and there was like a very like specific context where you could interpret the spotlight system as being better for players, right? It necessitated series drops at specific intervals and specific quantities. And then it just didn't happen. And then it was like, well, okay, it got a little bit worse, but it's still good. And it was kind of like it kept creeping until like
Yeah.
it was just indisputably bad. And this is the worry I have with this, right? Like it's starting off pretty good, but is there gonna be like inflation in the economy, in the card economy, such that the resources that you use to acquire cards will kind of be stretched a lot more thin. So I guess once bitten, twice shy. I like what I'm seeing right now. I am interested to see if it continues to be a positive thing. But right now it's such a big improvement that I suspect that this feels like the new Coke strategy, but like instead of it being like on the shelves for like a little while, it was like a year. And how long was the spotlight system in place for? It was over a year. Feels
Spotlight,
like 2 years.
yeah, Spotlight came out, I think it'll be 2 years ago in June. So it was like a year and a half, or a year and 3/4 actually, or
Yeah.
so. Um, so yeah, it's been out for a while, and yeah, like people were happy with the spotlights when they came out, and then but there were some pretty like clear signs of, well, if we want this system to keep being good long term, they need to do regular series drops, and they didn't do that, and then they also needed to have like a decent schedule of bringing back cards in a timely manner, and they didn't really do that. And then, yeah, instead of trying to fix it, they just got rid of it altogether and gave us this. But I think that's probably better than them trying to fix the spotlights. So, um, yeah, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
weird. Although I'm much more optimistic about the snap packs long term, because at least with the current numbers, it still seems quite a bit cheaper to catch up.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, and right now I can attest to that. Like I felt like the keys that I had when they converted them to tokens, I didn't have as many as you. I had 8 keys, and that translated to like 20,000 tokens or
Oh my
something
god.
thereabout.
You're
yeah, 20
Yeah,
24K.
yeah, and it felt like I got a windfall with that. Whereas like, people who had not taken a break would have, gotten even more. But it still felt pretty good to be able to get
It's just
that.
nice when you get the cards you want and it's not on some weird schedule where the only way to get around the weird schedule is to pay money. Like that
Yeah.
was really the root of the issue with spotlights, right? You got so few tokens that the only way to get them faster was to pay, and if you weren't willing to do that, then you had to wait in the spotlight system, and they just were notoriously bad at scheduling that in a way that was appealing because it was hard to be a if you appeal towards one group with it, you might be not appealing towards another because like everyone's card collection's a little different in terms of what they have and what they want and stuff.
Hmm.
It was just a very flawed system. So being able to be like, okay, I have the tokens, I will buy the card. And then there are some interesting optimization things you can do with it, right? Where it's like you don't need to have all the cards to get a new card for 5k tokens with the pack if you have all the recent season cards.
Oh, it's been great. Yeah, it costs 5 instead of 6. It's fantastic.
And if you're really lucky, like me, you just get a free card sometimes,
Dude,
and that's pretty cool.
I've never opened a pack that's got 2 cards in it. I've never seen it. I didn't even think it was a thing until you mentioned it. But
Yeah,
like
I've had it happen not once but twice
streamer luck.
since it released. So yeah, streamer luck. It's and yeah, I think they need to update their UI a little bit so it's a little more exciting to share it. But I just shared the screenshot of the tokens because when I get a second card, I have all the other cards, so it just refunds me the price of the pack.
That's
in the
crazy.
token.
Yeah, that's really
But
Well,
cool.
yeah, it's like
it's a lot
it's
better
such a
than
better
already
feeling than
owned.
one keying a card was ever. It'll happen less than one keying a card, but like when it does happen, or even if you get like another cool thing I didn't think they would do that they did do is if you're opening a Series 4 pack, you can actually high roll a Series 5 card in the Series 4 pack, which
How's
is
that?
because the bonus roll can still roll. It can roll a series 5, a 4, or a 3 in the bonus slot. The bonus slot, the only thing the bonus slot is limited to is like what the pool of cards is. So if it's a collector's pack, you're gonna get a collector's, like an older card, or if it's a seasonal, you'll get a newer one. But you can still roll that series 5 card in your bonus slot in a series 4 pack. I had that happen when it came out.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was very neat. Or if you roll like you get a Series 4 card as a bonus in your Series 5 pack or whatever. It's I didn't expect them to really do it that way, so that was kind of neat. But yeah, the economy rework has gone over, I think, pretty well for the most part. The biggest, I think, missed opportunity here was I feel like they barely marketed it at all. I feel like they have not made much of a push to bring people back to the game. Like if you were invested in like the game and the community surrounding it, like Blue is, it makes sense to have a reason to come back. But if you haven't been keeping up with Marvel Snap for however many months since you stopped playing, you probably have no idea any of this is going on because they really didn't push it that hard advertising wise. And I'm guessing that's in part because the people who did their advertising were the publisher, and now they're their own publisher.
Right.
We probably have to
Yeah.
figure out, new avenues to do advertising, and
Weren't they going to give
maybe they're
everybody
gonna.
a free pack or something?
They did, yeah. So it was funny. They
Oh, wait,
were
they
giving
did?
everyone a free collector's pack.
We got one?
However, they ran into an issue where it wasn't deploying, so they gave everyone the tokens instead. So we actually got something. You essentially got the value of a pack, but in tokens, so it's kind of more
Yawn.
valuable.
I mean, it's
But
cool. It's cool, but I wish that they would like the communications a little lacking
yeah, if you
sometimes.
don't keep up with all this stuff, it's very easy to miss things. But yeah, we got what a series. We got 4K tokens, I think, when the packs came out.
Yeah, no, we made out better with the tokens versus the pack. It was just kind of weird the way the whole thing kind of came about.
Yeah.
It's almost like they kind of expect you to follow their Discord. And I'm going to be honest for a second. And so, in full disclosure, I'm not in the creator program, so I don't feel like bound to toe any lines. I don't really go on the Discord because I think the moderation sucks. At least it used to. Maybe it's changed. It was very
Well,
heavy-handed. So I muted it, and yeah, but it seems that I have to like get my information second and third hand.
That's why you just follow me on YouTube, and that's where you see all the useful information. Discord
Hey,
anyway.
oh, so I know you're jesting, and I do follow you on YouTube. But you'll be pleased to hear that the IRL person whom I work with that only consumed Regis and cozy content
Mhm.
now gets all of their Snap info from you.
Oh,
yay!
really?
Wow, that's great.
That's cool. Moving
Yeah,
up in the
yeah.
world.
I
That's what
So
I aim for with the news videos. People seem to like them.
I have to tell you
yeah, and
though. Oh, sorry. Go for it. Go for it.
yeah, sorry, just to finish that. And it's not like I mean I told him to watch you clearly, but like it's not like that would have like swayed him one way or another. Like I mean, you know how fickle people are about what they like and what they follow.
For
And
sure.
so yeah, no, you earned that view. So good on you. But no, it's true. A lot of times I'll know what's going on before the video drops because I'll be watching you and Safety kind of comment or react on it in Discord. But yeah, I find it just a bit weird that I guess they want to maybe this is a way of driving engagement on the Discord because it is very active. I mean,
It's
for
too
Yeah, I mean,
active though. That's my big complaint. Like, I mean, I'm in it, but like, there's a
yeah, I
bazillion
think
people
most
in it, and I
people
can't keep
don't
track on
engage
it.
in
Like,
it a
it's
lot.
too, yeah, it's too
Like,
busy.
I'm only in the I view the creator program chat and then I look at the team answers because that's where they answer questions. But I don't really look at anything outside of that because I don't know, I feel like I already have enough of a thing going on with the in-game community. I don't need another like place to I think it's really for people who are very into the game but maybe aren't as, don't have other people to talk about it with or whatever. I think
yeah,
that's who it appeals towards the most. But
somewhere
yeah,
people
so
can
that's
go
why I
that's
ended
not
up
Reddit.
doing the YouTube video stuff because they post a lot of information on there that no one ever hears if you don't check it. Um, like they're doing a bounty event right now that I mean it's finally showing it in game, but it started on like Tuesday and there was nothing about it in the game for like until like yesterday or today or something.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
came in late.
yeah, we're getting some like free stuff, and you just need to play with and win games with the X-Men cards. And there's like some variants, some resources, and the stretch goal is a pack. I don't know if we're gonna hit that or not. We hit 10 million today, and the stretch goal is like 40 million. It
Hmm.
goes until the 26th, so I doubt we're gonna hit the stretch goal, but probably hit the other goals of the cosmetics, the variants, some credits. Should be good either way.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it'd be cool.
I wonder if we're gonna see because they're doing the tournament thing. Like I imagine at some point we're gonna see them try and remarket the game a bit to like remember when Hearthstone did the catch-up packs thing?
Yeah.
There
Yeah,
was a whole little, marketing thing behind that because they were really trying to be like, hey, like we know it's kind of hard to get back into the game, but we've changed some things and now we're making it more approachable for a new player or returning player.
yeah,
And I think Snap Packs help with that a lot. They've also run promos in the past for like returning players. So I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up running some promotion to bring people back, but I have no idea what their marketing situation looks like. It felt very barren for what, you know, was the biggest thing people have been asking for like a long time. I
yeah,
I would like remember when the PC client or Spotlights came out, like they did a pretty real marketing push with both of those things.
Hmm.
Um, and that was back with Newverse, and Newverse probably, I imagine, funded or set that up, which is why we didn't see it this time. Maybe they had one planned too, but it all changed when they separated from Newverse. Who knows? Um, but yeah, it's certainly interesting. It's been an interesting time to be a Snap player, but it's been nice to see some people come back to the game. And I mean the response to the economy stuff has been pretty overwhelmingly positive. I think there are some people who don't like it, but what I've noticed is the people who don't like it, I think, are the ones who've often been mismanaging their resources like pretty poorly,
uh-huh.
like just YOLOing on the packs freely because they have all these tokens, and then being upset when they didn't get like the specific thing they want. And it's like you could have bought the thing you wanted, and you'd have a lot more tokens. But I mean, that's always factored into how they make these systems, I'm sure. But still, it's like I don't know. I think for the most part, it has gone over very well with
Yeah,
the community, which that's saying something because I think many people, ourselves included, were not holding our breath for the economy rework. Like there wasn't it was very much not a sure thing that they did a good job with it going off the track record of the last two, right? Um, so I think they kind of stepped up a bit to make this a bit better. And I said this somewhere, I think it was on stream, I don't remember. But they answered a question on the Discord where one of their main, I don't know if it was product manager, I just know it's one of the monetization people. But
hmm,
one of the monetization people who was like very much either in charge or high up in that element has been working on Second Dinner's other game. Like they mentioned that in some question and answer thing, and I was like, huh. So maybe that's why we finally got an economy that's not terrible. Is the person who'd been running it since or I don't know if they were solo running it, or my understanding is they had a lot of they had a lot of power and influence in terms of doing the economy stuff. And it sounds like they're working on Second Dinner's next match 3 game or whatever it's going to be.
Huh.
And they're
Rip
not on
that game
now.
then.
And it was just funny to hear them be like, huh, I wonder how much that played into the economy rework actually being good. It was just kind of a funny thing to pick up on.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, regardless of whether that had anything to do with it or not, I'm really happy with it. I've been enjoying coming back to Snap. I don't feel like I'm missing, well, I don't have everything, but I feel like a battle pass purchase really goes a lot longer than it did, especially if you're active. So yeah, I've been enjoying the new cards quite a bit. But maybe before I kind of get into that, my first experience coming back was really, so when I started playing again, it was just at the end of last season. If you remember, I hit 90 like on like an hour before reset, because that was basically when I started playing again.
And you picked up
And
Carter too, right? Because Carter just got buffed.
yeah, I picked up Carter, and I'd done enough of the battle pass to be able to get the Carter variant. Um, but the thing that I really noticed coming back were two things.
Yeah.
One, Thanos was everywhere, and two, there wasn't going to be any kind of balance patch until basically the end of the next season. So, May 29th, like it's kind of like right at the end. And everyone was bitching about Thanos, and I was like, well, I'm coming back. I don't, I'm gonna play what I play, and we'll see what happens. But then, like, even though it was like really low, especially like on the last day of last month, I was stunned when I got reset to 73 from 93, which I'm not gonna
Yeah, they
complain
changed
about.
it. They
Yeah,
made the
yeah,
less it doesn't push you back quite as far, which I think a lot of these things that have been happening have been because the player base has been shrinking. Like if you look
right.
at the numbers, the Steam numbers in particular, I'll see if I can pull it up here. But they went down like quite a bit, and I've myself and others have kind of noticed this as well. Like for the first time ever this month, I had it where I actually ran into a player 2 games in a row on the ladder, which
Oh,
normally the
Oh, weird.
matchmaking disincentivizes that.
yeah,
Like I think they have like a soft thing there to where it tries to avoid giving you an instant rematch. Um, but I had that happen a few different times, and I saw other people have it happen too. And so we have these are the numbers from the Steam numbers. And it's a mobile game. A lot more people play on mobile than play on Steam, but I've always viewed the Steam numbers and like the Twitch stats and stuff are more of a sign of the very dedicated like community people who are like
yeah.
very involved with the game enough to want to play it on PC. Um, and if we look back in January 2024, that was second highest here on the chart, 5,100 average players for the month. And then a year later in January 25, it's down to 3,000. That's a pretty significant decline. And if you look at the dates where it really went down, it was still like mostly 4,000, between like 4 and 5,000 for
Yeah, it
most of
really took a dip.
24. And then where you noticed the decline was November, December, and onward. And I was trying to figure out like what did this, and I was remembering back to it, and it's like that's when Pocket and Rivals came out and everyone was really fed up, and a lot of people were kind of tired of hearing like we're working on the economy but we have nothing to share right now. And then I think that's when a lot of people finally found something else they could do instead and left. Like if you want another card game, Pocket came out. If you want another Marvel game, Rivals came out. and that is when you see a steep decline. It goes down like 800 players from October to November, and then by December it goes down another 900. If you look at the numbers, it hasn't really recovered a ton from that. It went up a little bit in February and March, but now it's going back down again, and it's like, yeah,
I
I don't know
was
how to
among them. Yeah, I
to
was
the
among those numbers because, like, I basically, that's when I really took a big step back. I fell really behind and I was kind of frustrated. Um, so hopefully, maybe these changes will have bucked the trend a little bit. But to your point, if nobody knows about it, then will it actually
Yeah,
make a
exactly. Like
difference?
they have to at some point they have to try and do a whole little marketing kick and be like, hey, Marvel Snap's still here. The funny thing is that I think the best marketing this game has got in the last 6 months, if not a year. Well, I won't say a year because the Deadpool's Diner, for all its problems, I think was a pretty good marketing stunt, which kind of shows in the numbers a bit. But the real good marketing thing was the thing that was outside of their control. It was Snap accidentally getting banned, and
Right, yes.
what I saw is that made a whole bunch of people who kind of forgot about the game be like, "Wait, Marvel Snap's still a thing. What's going on with that game?" Like that was a funny unintended consequence.
Yeah, no, it definitely put put it in the front page of mainstream news. I mean, it was like the first like impact. Like Marvel Snap was the first like thing to catch a stray from all of these tariffs, right? Like that was like the first like they were at the vanguard of the tariff, the trade war. So yeah, no, it gave them a lot of publicity. Um, I hope that maybe that's why they're doing the tournament. Maybe
So
they'll
the tournament, my understanding is here how the tournament stuff came about. Because I mean, if you played Snap for a long time, you know they've never
yeah,
expressed.
people beg them for tournaments and it never happened.
Yeah, like at the start of the game's life, there was a lot of community-run tournaments, and there seemed to be interest for it. And Second Dinner never really was too involved with that stuff. The only stuff they did was they did some smaller creator promo events a handful of times. There were like maybe 3 or 4 of those. Um, and those were, my understanding, largely run by like Newverse and third-party organizations. But I guess Second Dinner got a new employee, I'm assuming recently, Brady, and he's been the driving force behind all the tournament stuff. I'm assuming he has like a background or an interest there
Hmm.
in other card games. I'd guess Magic, but I don't know. Um, I'm guessing some card game that has like a regular tournament system, and it sounds like he's convinced them to give it a shot as a potential advertising thing, and to see like, hey, is there interest here? We've seen interest like this in other card games. Can it work for our game? And so it feels like that's what they're trying to do. So they have the first official Marvel Snap community tournament thing going on next weekend, and they have I think there are 85 spots that creators are taking up, including myself, and then the rest of it, which is like I think it's like 350 or 400 total people. It's a pretty large amount are just members of the community. Some were given a slot by a creator, and then the rest were all randomly selected.
Yeah, you guys,
So
people got to bring a +1, right? I didn't sign up
yeah,
for it,
yeah.
but
If you sign up, you got to bring a +1. So I did that, and I'm gonna play in it. I think it's cool they're finally doing it. I worry it might be a little too late in terms of. Uh, I feel like these types of things are harder to get started later on in a game's life compared to when it's like new and exciting and stuff, and you have the most amount of players playing it. I feel like it's harder to get people excited about tournaments for a game that's been out for a while compared to like a newer game where there's all this like hype behind it. I also think that they should have like pushed back the tournament by like a week or something, so we wouldn't be stuck in the same meta, but you can make arguments for or against it. But all I know is all the people I've talked to who are either playing or would be watching are not overly pleased that they decided to do this in the month where they decided not really to do OTA stuff because they're doing a company retreat or something.
Huh.
It just lined up kind of poorly. So like I just think like if I were running something like this, if I wanted it to go as good as possible for like a proof of concept, which that's what this seems like it is they're testing the waters to see like, hey, how much of our community is interested in this? How many people will watch this? Is it enough to where it can justify us putting some time and resources in so we get some like advertising benefit out of it? And I think if you want that to succeed, it's best to do it in a meta that's like less fully discovered and more exciting. So like right off the like if
Yeah.
they did it even if they didn't want to wait for a balance change, I think it would have been more exciting to do it like when Surge and Esme launched or something. Because those cards were like pretty exciting and Surge especially, added to the metagame quite a bit. Um, but I think now it's like launching. It's happening during a week where they're releasing like one of the worst cards I think they've ever released in Elixir, and the meta's pretty. I just don't expect there to be any like secret decks people are bringing to take down Thanos. Like it just seems like it's going to be a pretty Thanos dominated tournament, and I don't think it's going to be the most fun gameplay wise for like the people playing or the people watching. So I think that they maybe should have waited on the tournament until after some. And so I gave some feedback about that. Like, hey, if you guys do more of this, timing it with like either like a brand new season or right after an OTA, I think would make for a better experience for the people playing it and for the people watching it. Because if you want a card game tournament to be exciting, like what's more exciting than seeing like good players come up with the new top decks on the fly in a tournament? Like I remember that was what I always liked about Hearthstone tournaments back in the day was like the most exciting tournaments were ones where someone won and they brought a deck that like nobody had seen before or it was like a totally new take on something and then
Yeah.
you have this big performance and it's like exciting and interesting. So to me that's what makes like tournaments fun. And so I hope in the future they're a little more mindful of that because I think it not only is it better for like the playing and the viewing experience, but I think it's also just better for um, generating interest in the game. Um, like I'm more likely to watch a tournament where I feel like it's a bit of an undiscovered environment because I want to see what people come up with and what might
So
be
let
good.
me. So
Well,
here's a deep lore cut. Then you really liked it when Corridor Creeper had its debut. Then I would imagine because
yeah,
I was discovered in a tournament. Yeah, no, I agree with you. This meta is basically solved. I saw so much Thanos on my climb. The refreshing thing has been the release of Surge. I feel like Surge is so
Surge is great.
strong. It allows a bunch of other archetypes to like kind of really be able to compete,
It brings
including
a lot of things up. Yeah, like
yeah.
it's like Zabu too, but it's easier to build. It's not as hard to build around as Zabu is. It's not as rigid with what you have to put in your deck for it to do the thing of cost reduction. It really feels like a modern Zabu. And
They pair
Zabu
very
too.
well. Yeah, they pair very well together as well. And it feels a lot like when we used to pair Zabu with Sarah. The thing that I really like about Surge is that unlike Sarah, where you have to play this like extremely like I'm gonna throw Prio and then vomit, Surge gives you a discount that rewards tempo playing quite a bit. And so this is why I think we're seeing Surfer kind of be the second best deck. Um,
Yeah,
and
you
it's
see a
gone
lot of
through.
mid-range piles, Surfer being one of them that they're just leveraging Surge very well. Ajax is another one. I've been playing this like anti-venom Miss Marvel, just like mid-rangey decks. Surge has just made a good amount of decks, especially ones that lean on strong fours. Like
Mhm.
some of these, I mean, you've been trying it out a bit with like Kitty Prideless Sarah, where it's just like a Kitty
Yeah.
Pride tempo deck. Because it turns out if you hit Kitty Pride with Surge, it's really, really good having a free Kitty Pride. And most of the hits in the deck are good. And Surge is just kind of like the glue that is keeping a lot of mid-range decks relevant right now. It's kind of
Yeah.
giving them a chance to stand up to the power of like Thanos and tech and stuff. Where without Surge, I think it would be a lot harder. Because
Yeah,
that one,
the deck that Nate just put on screen is what I've been playing almost exclusively post Infinite. I did try Chase Pitzer's High Evo Cook with Surge, and that feels really good. The problem that I have is that it doesn't run because it can't fit it. It doesn't run anything to deal with cards like decks like negative. Also, I feel like Mobius is just a must-have right now because it's good against Thanos, so it can't be played on turn 5. It's good against opposing surges because even though they still get the power, they don't get the discount. It's just freaking good into everything.
there's a lot of cost
Um,
reduction
yeah,
right
there's
now.
a lot of cost reduction. So this mid-range pile that I've been playing is like Sarah-less Sarah, and I think that the cool thing about it is that the way that like Sarah decks for a long time got its power was through Hitmonkey and Bishop, or through other just overstated cards like Maximus and Gladiator. But now you can run Galacta and Gwenpool in the lists, and if you get them both down in a game, especially if you can get one of them down on 3 because of Zabu or Surge, they just generate a lot of like point potential. So like
Yeah.
this deck can compete on points. And Elsa's kind of returned in a major way. Um, you know, Elsa with Kitty and Sam Wilson's quite good. I did have Hope in here originally. I took it out for Red Guardian. I don't really know what I want in that slot. I just felt like I didn't need the extra energy with Hope. Hope just felt like a dead card. At least Red Guardian can like further disrupt. But I think you can put Killmonger in there or whatever it is that you want.
Yeah, it's just kind of
Um,
a lot.
yeah, I feel like because of the shield and Elsa, Jeff's in here, and it doesn't feel like it's like a gimme for Jeff. Like Jeff actually feels legit. I was actually thinking of trying Nocturne in the Red Guardian slot because it's like a card that you like to play on curve, so it's good
Yeah,
with Surge, but it also can move, so it's good with Elsa. Um,
yeah. I
a
played
kind of
one like this with Rocket and Groot.
copycat might be good too. Oh yeah, Rocket and Groot could be really good as well. Yeah, so anything that kind of slots into this curve. Um, there are a lot of similar decks out there. Tech piles. I feel like they're basically being pushed by Surge and Sam Wilson.
Yeah, there are a lot of different flavors of this deck where it's essentially Kitty Pride, Sam, the stuff that benefits off Kitty, like Elsa, and then varying amounts of either more points or tech or both. But the decks are good. I've definitely seen some success with these and seen people do well with them. So it's neat that like, in spite of Thanos is the most popular deck, and I think you can make a very good argument that it's the best, if not easy, like top 2 or top 3. Other decks are still able to exist, but it feels like without Surge, I feel like it'd be a lot harder for these decks to be keeping up, and even then, they don't always keep up. So I'm hoping that when we do get the OTA, they can give it a little more breathing room. I also think just people generally dislike when like a tech focused deck is at the very top, and the annoying thing about Thanos is they have so many good locations. The stones help them get around like bad locations a lot of the time. And they basically do what Sarah Control always wanted to do, which is they can use tech to win a game, but they have just enough raw numbers to also win the game through numbers. And I think that's when you get to a pretty unenjoyable play pattern, is when the tech deck is also one of the most effective points decks when they don't draw their tech. Because it's like, if you don't have to give something up to do that, like, why not do that, right? If you can play for a bunch of points and have the answers to beat a variety of strategies, why wouldn't you, rather than doing just one of those things?
The fact that like it's like Thanos, a bunch of tech cards, and Wiccan, and it's just so annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the deck does not have to make much in the way of concessions. They're two powerful versions of it. It's funny, the ongoing one consistently puts up better performance, but the tech one is the one people seem to hate. And I think with good reason, because if it was just the ongoing Thanos, you could probably counter it more easily with cards like Killmonger or Clog decks and stuff. But with Strange Supreme around, some of those, I mean, you said it earlier on, right, Blue? It's like it feels like you have to hit them with two tech cards because one,
Yeah,
they can just kind of power through one. They can usually still get enough power to make it through there through that first tech card, and yeah. So I'm certainly looking forward to that. Thanos is always such a weird one because I feel like people remember Thanos when it's either the best or entirely irrelevant. And I think we had, a little bit of time there where Thanos was actually mid and like not great but playable, but it's just you never hear anything about it because a lot of people just aren't going to play it when it's just mid. Like when they made the first changes to Thanos before we got Goliath to really bolster the ongoing version, Thanos was pretty okay, but it wasn't very popular and I know a lot of people, myself included, thought, man, we have Gorgon, we have Cassandra Nova. How is Thanos ever going to make it back into relevancy? And, well, Thanos finds a way. That much is certain. Um, but yeah, I think Thanos is one of those cards where I like it being good, but I hate when it's the like best thing.
It's a
It's like
little frustrating seeing it like every game, every other game.
Yeah, and this was very apparent. Like one of the other days I was streaming, I was fortunate enough to run into very little Thanos for like 2 or 3 hours or something, and the game was just so much more fun. I was having such a better time, and so I think by and large, I think like a lot of the decks are actually pretty reasonable and interesting, but the Thanos one is particularly repetitive, and it also, I think, it's kind of like it reminds me of what would annoy me with like Arshim, not to the same extent because Arshim's more random, but when you're playing against a deck that has like a bigger deck size, I feel like naturally you're more likely to be like, all right, I have to put them on not having it, and then it feels bad when they do. But Thanos' deck size isn't that much bigger with all the cycling that they do. They still see like so much of their deck. But it's felt very hard to like properly counter Thanos. Like the deck has ranged from like 15 to like 22, 24% of the metagame. And it's funny because Thanos was really good as soon as we got Goliath, but it wasn't popular until Strange came out. Like the ongoing version of Thanos was really good and didn't change at all, but it was not a popular deck for like most of the last season. Why I don't know, but it took Strange Supreme to really give people the wake up call that wait, Thanos is actually a good card again, and now it's very very popular. And I mean, going off of popularity metrics and
oh yeah, Thanos is gonna
like
get hit on the 29th.
nerf, the big mystery question is I don't think anyone really knows how hard they want to go. They have a
Mm.
weird history with Thanos where the last time Thanos was too good, they spent like a month or more doing these like small nerfs that often didn't do very much. And then when those nerfs didn't work, they eventually just chopped the head off him
Mm-hmm.
and made him Quicksilver, and Thanos disappeared for a long time after they did that. And then they made the change more recently, a couple months ago, to where Thanos doesn't take up a starting draw, and he didn't start seeing a bunch of play again right away. But that is definitely probably the biggest change that they have given it. And then he got some more power, and new cards came out, and so on and so forth. But he's in a very well positioned spot, and going off of like past data, like he's definitely hitting all the check marks of a card that is going to get nerfed. So the big question is, how are they going to do it, and are they going to like? I feel like there's a bit more pressure on them to have a meaningful nerf in the first OTA because people are already like not thrilled that we had a whole month without one. So if we get, the OTA and Thanos comes out of it pretty unscathed, then we have to wait another 2 weeks for a chance at a proper nerf. I think that would not go down very well. It certainly wouldn't. Yeah, I don't think it would make me want to play the game more.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's what's going on with the Thanos situation. And it is funny though that I feel like they leaned into it a little bit in naming the tournament the Golden Gauntlet, and they're using like Thanos in the graphic, and it's like, yeah, like we're gonna meme on this a bit because it's gonna be like half the field or more is gonna be playing Thanos.
Gross. Yeah. That
It is what it is. It's not the worst that the game's ever been balance wise, but it's certainly less fun when I mean, it's always less fun when you run into one thing way more than everything else, but like Thanos just, it really has that feeling of they have so much tech. It's like feels like they can kind of overcome anything a lot of the time. Like it definitely feels like you see, it reminds me of what I would think when I ran into Arsham, where it's like you see the extra deck size at the start of the game, and I just like audibly groan because I know this is going to be more uphill of a battle than it would be versus like most other decks.
Yeah. I'm curious, Nate. So you're not infinite yet. You're kind of in the 90s. Has your climbing experience been the same as both mine and zombies? Like, so zombies kind of sits like in like top 100, or top 500. I'll give you a wide band just so that I don't have to deal with an "oh, actually" comment. I usually am around 7,000. Although I've been playing quite a bit more this month post Infinite, so I'm a little higher. But usually I usually enter in around 7,000. And I feel like you generally come in the same as me, Nate, but you have a very different experience because you play at different times and you tend to take it a little slower than me, which is funny because I feel like you get punished for taking it slower. It's just such a bad thing, but it's true, right? Like I get bots, you don't. But from an MMR perspective, our snap points are generally like in the same ballpark, right? Plus or minus
yeah,
100.
typically last month was the first month that I didn't hit infinite in like well over a year. And
Oh yeah.
that felt bad, but I'm in the mid 90s. I'm at about 94, 95 right now. It's going okay. But the problem is like I mean honestly I've been a little bit bored with Snap. The meta has felt very stale. The game, the rework is good, but it's like it's so late.
Yeah.
And then I get some game like I've been playing through Black Myth Wukong on the PS5, and like the game's amazing. And so I get this like oh well, why don't why don't I just play that instead? And so
Right. Yeah, I think that's normal for these months that are like normally Snap has a lot of stuff going on, and I think the big things going on were like the economy rework, and then they followed that up with a bit less exciting of a month where it's like, well, we already got the new Series 4 card before the season started. There's no event this month. There's one less OTA, so it's a month without an OTA. Just as far as the stuff they normally do to kind of make things a little bit more exciting in a given week. There's just less of that this month. So like I've definitely felt that more like I'm thinking this coming week I'm going to do more non-snap stuff for the first time in a while because I think the card just doesn't interest me at all, and the meta's not going to be any different
yeah.
than what we've experienced because the card doesn't seem like it's going to change anything. It's like actually the worst card they've made since Kang, I think. So, yeah, like I'm kind of bored, and I want I want there to be some balance changes or them to release some cards I find exciting. And that's just not really what's on the docket for the next like 2 weeks or so. So it's
Yeah.
gonna, I think it's just gonna be one of those downtimes. And then next month sounds like we're getting a new limited mode. They're gonna be 4 total Series 4 cards, some of which look really cool. Like I think next month's gonna be a lot more interesting as far as hopefully the balance is a bit better because we'll be back into the regular. I think anytime I've noticed a pattern where anytime they go off the normal OTA schedule, the game feels like it drags a bit. Like
Mm.
it happens usually. I guess there are rare occasions if the meta's really good, it can be okay. But usually when they do this around the holidays, and I notice those are the times I'm less interested in playing the game, are when there's just naturally less stuff going on in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've been playing other games too, and I played some Magic the other day for the first time in forever, and they have
Oh,
that
you
Final
tried the
Fantasy
Final Fantasy
crossover.
cards?
Yeah, we did a game with some precons, and now we were using Spell Table, which is or no, we were using Tabletop Simulator to like
Right.
simulate the card game environment. It's very cool for playing like digital Magic. You can just import your cards, and the Final Fantasy cards aren't even out yet, so we just took the deck lists and we could play the game. It was quite fun. So I've been playing other stuff too because I just Snap has not been doing it for me as much this month. Like last month, I felt kind of bored with it the first half of the season, and then the second half was more exciting. We got Infinity Ultron, who even though he was underpowered, was like a really exciting card. And they buffed Carter, and we got Strange, and but the first 2 weeks of the season were really boring to me, and then it ended kind of strong. And this season, I feel like has been the opposite, where this season started strong with Surge, really strong card. Esme's pretty interesting. Even Prodigy ended up being better than I thought he'd be. Um, but I feel like it started strong, and now it's gonna end kind of not as strong until we get the OTA. Because I think the what's it? Not Prodigy. Elixir seems really really bad, and Zorn seems kind of cool, but I can't imagine him finding a relevant foothold into the meta we're in right now. It just seems like, 2/3s with a effect you can optimize around or like limit your opponent with can be good, but they're not going to be like game changingly good. So I don't expect that to really like move the needle against like the stuff that's popular right now. I mean, maybe it's a little annoying for Silver Surfer or something, but I think the real impact this season everyone's waiting for is not the 2 remaining cards, but the OTA on the 29th that is hopefully gonna breathe a little bit of new life into things and take the top stuff down a peg so more decks can find success. Because
Given
I
his
think
play
there's a lot
play
of
rate, I wonder if Surfer is gonna catch a stray.
I would not be surprised if Surfer got a light nerf, but I don't know how you do it. I don't know, like they've never hit Surfer directly because they're not really. I don't think you can touch any of the points on that card very effectively. And then you are touching something else. Well, then if it gets hit particularly hard, it probably just gets replaced by the next best 3 drop. So I don't know. I don't know. Surfer has definitely cemented itself as one of the better decks in the game right now, and it's the second most popular after Thanos. But yeah, they haven't really. The OTAs, I feel like, usually give us some insight into not just the changes that they make, but the where they're at with some of these cards and decks.
Yeah.
Like even if a card isn't getting nerfed, or maybe a card gets a light nerf, uh, because they just want to bring it down a little. But we usually have some context, and right now it's like I have no idea what they think about any of the stuff going on right now, other than it doesn't seem to be crossing the bar for an emergency OTA, which is kind of what I expected. Because it's not like Thanos is 60%, 70% win rate. Like he's not in a tier of his own. It just feels like he's an A plus, while a lot of the other good decks are A's kind of. Um, that makes sense. Like he's not full degenerate tier of his own, but he's definitely above a lot of the other stuff.
I think that the only thing they could touch that wouldn't kind of they buffed Carter and that really was the catalyst. Maybe they make Carter a 3/1. They take like one off the top. Cause like that does have a multiplicative effect the way it works, right? But it would still probably be quite good that way. Maybe that's how they do it. I don't know.
Possible. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're gonna start with Thanos and maybe go from there and see how it develops. But I certainly wouldn't be surprised if they nudged a power away from Surfer or something because it's been very good too. But I don't think that's. I think for the most part, Surfer is a lot more of a targetable deck where it's like
Yeah.
right now you're not seeing it being hard targeted because people would rather hard target Thanos if they can. But uh, like if Surfer's the best deck, I can think of a few different ways that you can get a pretty good edge against them. And I think that's kind of the frustrating point with Thanos right now is even the decks that are running the cards that, on paper are like, oh, this is good against Thanos, aren't having that much of an edge. Like, it's still pretty. Like, I wouldn't. There really isn't a deck I consider just like fully favorable against Thanos, or if it is favorable, it's like 55, not even 55-45, like maybe 52-48 or something.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to even if you're targeting it with Darkhawk or Cassandra or whatever else, Killmonger. It's just hard to beat right now.
Yeah, and I don't actually think Surfer needs a nerf, by the way. The only reason I speculate that it might catch a stray is because it's the second most played archetype.
Yeah, it has
And
high
that's what I
popularity.
played to Infinite, and it was quite strong. And I was playing a list that was running Esme in it because I was basically just like, oh, new season, new card. It's a 3. I think that that was quite suboptimal. So even playing with a suboptimal card, it felt kind of breezy. So yeah, no, the deck's good, but I don't think it's too good. I mean, and yeah, there are like people can use Shadow King to tech against it, right? Those like giant brood
Yeah, Shadow
lanes.
King is usually pretty good against Surfer.
Yeah. So, and I think that we're going to be seeing a little bit more Shadow King on ladder now because KM Best in his weekly kind of mini meta snapshot he does had Shadow King in a few decks, and I think that was in recognition that Surfer kind of is doing that thing that these decks do, which is kind of they don't go so tall, but they go quite wide. Not like crazy wide like Patriot, but wide enough that the traditional tech cards like Shang don't really get you there, right?
Yeah, that's
So
why you see like less Shaw and stuff. Because one of the benefits of Surfer is the fact that it ducks Shang. You kind of duck Enchantress. You have Captain Carter, which doesn't appreciate it, but you don't like hard lose to Enchantress as much as other decks do.
I cut Carter. I put in Forage. I don't actually think that's correct, but I often found that like if I couldn't move the shield and I wanted to play Brood in that lane, it really kind of annoyed me. I didn't miss it in that deck. Um, I don't know. I think that most of the good deck builders are including it because it's just so good. But yeah, I
That's
did find it a little awkward.
Yeah, Surfer has so many good 3 drops that you can build it in a variety of ways, and as long as you're running, the cards Surfer, Galacta, and Brood, like you probably have a reasonable shot. It's just about how you want to like handle the other handful of cards, but it's a very good deck, and it has definitely earned that second most popular spot in the metagame.
Yeah, it felt the best that it's felt since like the
And then
Silver
yeah,
Surfer
Surge
season.
is a big boost to it because
Yeah,
Surge is Brood, and Surge really helps with giving you. It basically does kind of what Hope did, where Hope would make it so you could play 2 3s on turn 5. Surge
yep,
kind of does that too, but sometimes you could do like Surge can make it so you can play a 3 drop and then a 2 drop that's reduced, or a 3 drop that's reduced and a 2 drop, and then that also enables you doing 2 3s on 5, and so the mana cheating really helps
yep.
with Surfer particularly because that was always a deck that had some awkward turn 4s and turn 5s sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Surge has really been the bright spot through all this.
Yeah, if you get one card this season, it should be Surge. Like that was my big recommendation when it was Surge week. Was like, yeah, you should get this card because it's gonna be the best card of the month. And I think it's living up to that hype in a way a lot of other cards really didn't in the past. Like, I feel like I said the same thing about Firehair, and Firehair ended up being a much more niche card. It's not a bad card, but like I thought it was going to have a much larger impact than it did, and it feels like Surge is the card that's having that kind of impact.
Yeah, get Surge. Use your newfound token wealth to splurge on Surge.
Yeah, she gets the Cosmo seal of approval.
Yeah, definitely. I've been running her in every deck I've been playing, and it feels quite good. I need to make sure that I have sufficient gold at the end of the month, so I can get the what would have been the Spotlight variant for Surge.
Oh yeah, that's a whole thing where people have been wondering how that's going to show up and what it's going to cost and all this stuff. Apparently, it's coming out on the 27th, but we don't really know much more than that.
Do we know the gold cost?
No, I don't think so. I don't
I
think
just
they
assume it'll be 1200. That's my assumption.
like they could try and do a higher cost again because they're trying to make up for those spotlights they are no longer selling. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not sure what they're thinking about with that.
I mean, 1200 is like pretty expensive. Oh, what if they put it in the vault? Like they kind of add it to everyone's vault,
They could do
and that
that. They could
way
make
and
it
that way they
cost
could charge more.
too. Imagine they make it like ultimates, but cheaper than ultimates. Like there are a lot of options with what they can do. I'd prefer if they just made them 1200s to be clear, but they haven't really given us much indication of what they're doing with that. All we know is the data mine said they'll become the ones that were going to be the spotlights are coming out on the 27th. Yeah, in the past they brought back old ones for 2400 gold and they stopped doing that. So I don't know if they try and do that again or
I
we'll
don't
wait
know
and
if I
see.
like that variant enough for 2400 gold.
Yeah,
I
it's very
Oh God,
expensive.
no, not for
Like it's
2400. Jeez.
1200's already expensive.
yeah,
So I'm curious
that's
to
my
see what they
limit.
do with that. I just got the other one because it was 700 and I liked it.
Yeah, I got that one too, but I think I'd like the other one if it's not too much. But yeah, the 700 one's perfectly serviceable. So But yeah, I've been playing that card basically in every single deck.
They're just been really fun. Like
Yeah.
it's it's a very strong card, but it doesn't I haven't found it to be a card that I find particularly frustrating to play against. Like it's I don't know. I think it fit the balance well. It's kind of like how I mean it's not a perfect example because I know a lot of people don't like him at this point, but I feel like going back to like Sam Wilson has been like the best two drop in the game since he came out. But pre-nerf, I think a lot of people found Iron Patriot more annoying because
Uh-huh.
oftentimes, like Iron Patriot, if you guessed the wrong lane, it was hard to contest, and then they do the classic, oh, they got their Iron Patriot card, they snap me, and then you have a big tempo disadvantage and you don't know what they're gonna play. Like, I think that card had more feel bads to it, where it was
Yeah.
more frustrating. Whereas Sam is just a guy who's getting points and has some synergies. But you kind of always know what you're getting out of it. Um, and so I think that even though Sam was the stronger card, he didn't get as much hate as Iron Patriot did until Iron Patriot got nerfed. And I think Surge is kind of like this, where I think it's a really strong card, but it doesn't feel overwhelmingly strong to play against a lot of the time because it's like very little. It's kind of incremental. Like the one cost reduction kind of adds up if you can get two of them off or whatever, or sometimes even just one is enough. But I don't know.
I
It's
don't,
pretty interesting.
I target it pretty hard. Like, so I've been playing Mobius in 2 of the 3 decks that I'm playing, Surfer and that mid-range control pile. And if my opponent plays Surge on curve, I immediately respond by playing Mobius because I feel like the the cost reduction is certainly what
It's
snowballed out of
it's the
control.
stronger part of the card, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's
So I think it's
good card.
actually a very powerful card. It does skew the game. And I think the crazy thing about it is that it's still good to get it out. Like sometimes I'll prioritize playing it off curve on 3 just so that I can get an extra turn of that cumulative advantage. I think it's really strong. It made Sarah, like, talk about poor Sarah. I mean, they finally did justice by putting her back to
5/5, yeah.
5, but I feel like Sarah's just been power crept by Zabu and Surge, and I was playing Angela in the deck as well because like Kitty Pryde, Angela, and Elsa, like it's the original Trinity. I feel like
Mhm.
Sam Wilson kind of does what Angela does, but just better because if you get Sam Wilson out on curve, it's really easy to get 2 shield dings, without really
Yeah.
having to do much. And that's just like it's as many points as Angela, but like with Elsa, the shield is just, like the
Yeah.
shield in general, just having that like ability to like move around is so strong. So like I feel like poor Angela and Sarah are like relegated to like the bargain bin now.
Yeah,
Sad.
it does feel like we've gotten some cards that fill similar roles there. Like I was playing a bit with Angela in a list like that, and it was still working okay for me. But yeah, like Sam does kind of do her job a bit better. Sam gets similarly sized. He has like more synergies that you can pair with things like Miles and Elsa. He's just very, very good. Also, I was trying out like a Prodigy deck, and the shield was really useful for helping set up the lanes in a way where you could more easily prodigy a high value target like a rocket and Groot or something. Um, that's the thing about Sam is he's the not only is he like the best scaling 2-drop, he also just enables synergies so freely, whether that be in a Scream deck or with like now we have Batroc. Some decks just splashing him to get a cheap Miles, using him for the Elsa positioning, using him to reduce Mockingbird by 1 in Thanos. Like the card
Yeah.
has just a million and one synergies, and so it feels like it wouldn't be surprising to me if they eventually took him in more of a Angela direction where he becomes a back to 2/3, but the shield only gives like +1 or something. Um, I don't know if that's something they would do immediately, or maybe they want to hit Thanos first and see how that goes. But it wouldn't be crazy to me for them to make a change like that to Sam eventually, because right now he is not only the best scaler, but one of the best synergy enablers, which is a pretty strong thing to be for a 2-drop.
Yeah, I can't imagine what it would have been like playing with him, and against him on release. That must have been
He was
so
very,
infuriating.
very strong. Yeah, and it was crazy when the shield was a 1-drop, it really further enabled the Surtur decks as well, because you could play like Cull Obsidian with it without much downside. People played Cull Obsidian without running any other 1-drops because you just didn't have to.
Right,
You
because it
always get a
starts
free
it
one.
starts out, and if you get Sam Wilson, it moves. Like you can
Yeah,
play your call wherever you want. Like it's kind of nuts. I didn't even think of that. It's funny when the Rian shop takeover happened earlier this week. A lot of the variants that were released for me, I know this is a very personal thing, is they were like best in slot, but like I didn't end up getting the Call Obsidian because I was thinking like when does that ever like it's not seeing play in Thanos and Thanos' meta. That's not a really good sign for the card. Changing the shield probably really saw its play rate crater.
yeah, yeah. It's Cull has not had too much luck after that. And they nerfed Sam, and they also nerfed like the Surtur Scar package too, right?
Yeah.
So it was just a bad time for. Although Surtur still lives on, but just not with Cull Obsidian. Now it lives with what's it called? Sauron, since they made Sauron a 2-drop. That deck is still pretty good, but yeah, it looks a bit different, and it does not run Hull anymore.
Yeah, I wanted to get all those variants, and I ended up getting one.
Ouch.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
been saving my gold for that. They just cleaned me out on gold. I got all the reinvariants, which was nice, and then I splurged the last of my gold on the Diamondback one because even though it wasn't a high value bundle, I like the credit ones. Just because I still like to split cards, even though Mastery kind of sucks. And yeah, I thought the variant was cool, but yeah, I went from having like 14,000 gold down to like 1,000 or something. So I've been holding together my been holding that gold for a long time, waiting for this album. So it was cool for it finally came out.
Yeah, I got the one variant I got was Sam Wilson. Um,
That's a
as
good
it
one.
turns out, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm playing with the card, and I like the variant, and was kind of looking at the other ones, and oh, I got another one. I lied. I got two.
What was the
I'm
other
look.
one?
Which one do you think? You know, it wasn't called Obsidian.
Fenris
Yeah,
Wolf.
yeah, it was Fenris Wolf. I had to get it. It was so
Fenris is
good.
great. He has the little Loki in his mouth.
Yeah.
Horrible.
They were on different days. That's why I forgot. Yeah, I got that one.
I saw
I
those come out
managed.
and I was like, "Oh man, you guys!"
Did
Just
Yep,
Lee
the
get? Did Lee get any of them? I didn't ask.
I'm not sure.
I'm assuming that Lee's no longer re-incomplete. That became a lot more of a commitment.
Yeah, that's why I'm grateful for the data mines because if I didn't have the gold, it would have been a lot more painful. But since I knew it was coming up, I just didn't spend like any gold in the past. Like I barely spent any gold in the past like 2 months waiting for this.
Here's another piece of trivia for you, since you guessed Fenris Wolf correctly. There was one of the Rian variants in that album that I did not get that I really regret having to pass on. And if it appears in my shop in the future and I have the gold, I will most likely get it. Which one do you think that was?
Is it the Victoria?
No.
Uh,
Although good guess. That's actually one that I would also want to pick up for sure.
yeah, it's one of my favorites personally. What was it then?
The Red Hulk.
Oh, the Red Hulk's fun.
I
Yeah.
like
It's
that one.
so good. Yeah. The thing is that it's not a card that I play very often,
Yeah, it's kind of
and
fringe.
yeah, so I mean, I don't want to get variants of cards that I'm not going to play. Of course, things can always change, but like they're so freaking expensive. So, you know, it's what are you going to do, right? So, I wasn't going to drop the big bucks on it, but like it was a thing that's completely optional, and hopefully they'll rotate them in more often because they're album variants,
Yeah,
right?
the album ones do seem to show up more, but the shop algo has always been weird with what it shows. Sometimes it takes a long time to see ones you like again.
Yeah. So yeah, no, this is pretty nice to see those cards, and yeah, I guess we'll keep our fingers crossed that the what would have been the spotlights are not going to be too expensive. I think it's interesting how these were planned to be spotlights. It almost feels like this economy change kind of like
Well, they
was
weren't sure on
reactive.
the date. Like back when they announced the economy change, they said it would be either the end of April or the start of June. So I think this was just a precautionary, like, hey, we missed the deadline on getting it out for this patch. We'll have it the next patch. I think they even had them going into 1 month further.
Hmm.
Um, but I think that was just all precautionary stuff in case they couldn't get it out as quickly as they wanted to, but it seems like they were able to without any big issues. So, but I won't be surprised if they try and charge more for what were the spotlights because that they made a pretty significant portion of income from whales who always picked up all the spotlight variants, and it'll obviously be less than that because it's a spotlight for one card instead of 3 cards in a given week.
Yeah.
Um, in terms of new art, but it's still, I imagine, something they want to keep making a big return on because they were, spotlights were not super cheap. And it was one of the ways that got whales to actually spend their resources. So I wonder how they're gonna try and do that if they're gonna try and do that with these new ones or not. As someone who's sitting on way too many tokens, I certainly wouldn't mind if they charge tokens. Because right now, if they're charging gold, like, doesn't seem like something I'm gonna interact with. If it's more than the 1,200 price,
Yeah.
but I guess we'll see on the 27th because that's when they're scheduled to make their appearance.
Yeah, I'll need to try and save some gold. Yeah, so I think that even with the meta problems, it's been nice to come back and play Snap.
It's
I
cool
feel
we got
like
experience of a lapsed player. Like we get to
yeah.
have the first hand of someone who's took a break from the game and got to try and come back with the system. I think sometimes it's hard to actually like get a first hand account of that from like the engaged players, but pretty cool to get to experience that.
And in fairness, I'll just also state that I bought last month's battle pass and this month's battle pass. Those were my purchases. So
So the
yeah.
best thing you can buy if you're gonna buy anything in the game are the passes by
Yeah.
a wide margin, I believe. But this
Yeah.
month you don't need. I think Esme is the first card in a while where I don't think you'll feel too bad about skipping it if you don't get it. But
It wasn't nearly as good as I thought it was going to be. Yeah.
yeah, like it kind of landed where I thought it would be. It's like kind of a niche card that's okay in some decks. The only deck that it's really, I think, had a big impact in has been Mr. Negative. Mr.
Yeah.
Negative, it's a little scary seeing Mr. Negative have a positive win rate because for a very long time, Negative has always had below 50%. And Esme seems to have given him a little bit more consistency that the deck really benefited from.
It's just
Also
another way to
getting
draw your
Gore off.
card or what?
Yeah, getting Gore off SMA or Iron
Yeah,
Man off
any
SMA just
deck with
Oh.
Esme and Gore, getting 3 mana Gore is really strong. So Esme helps with your backup plan if you don't find negative, but she can also dig for Mr. Negative himself. She can just get you a copy of negative on turn 3 that you play on turn 4. So I think those are the decks that have really benefited from her the most, or the ones that really want that redundancy. That's why I kind of liked her in Surfer, even though she hasn't really made the cut after like the first week. Was I liked how sometimes she'd find me a Brood or a Surfer that I might not have found otherwise, which was kind of cool. Um, so I think she is best in decks that really value getting like a second copy or a cheaper copy of a key card. But definitely not a must-have battle pass card like the last. Carter was the first one in a while that wasn't must-have either, and then they buffed her, and then she's like quite good now. Um, but Esme definitely feels like the first in a while where it's like, yeah, if you don't have her, it's not that big of a deal.
Carter and Surfer felt so busted. Like the things that you could do, and now people are playing Prodigy. Like I feel Prodigy, that's like the Prodigy niche, right?
Yeah, Prodigy's been showing up in some of them. One neat interaction that I saw is like if you Prodigy a Negasonic, even if it is already triggered, the Prodigy is still like fresh and will blow
It gets
something
a
up.
fresh trigger.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
that's obnoxious.
Prodigy Carter, Prodigy Rocket and Groot have all been pretty good ones for that card. That card I wasn't too. I thought that card would have issues that original Carter had in terms of like positioning issues, but it turns out Sam and the Shield help with that a lot. So it's not nearly as much of a problem as I thought it might be in terms of like the positioning being awkward.
Uh-huh.
Did we have anything else we wanted to cover? Talked
No,
about
I think that really is it. I mean,
tournaments, balance.
the meta feels kind of solved. It feels good to come back despite that. Yeah, I guess the only thing really left is you're going to be competing in that tournament. That's going to be a week from yesterday. So
Yeah,
Saturday,
Saturday.
what day is that? The 31st? No, the 24th, excuse me.
Yeah, 24th.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
So you
glad
can
it'll be on
watch
the weekend. Yeah.
you can watch the. I'm sure they're going to do it on the official Snap channel thing. If you're interested in these types of tournaments and you want them to do more of them, the best thing you can do is like watch it, or if you can't bear that much Thanos, at least like throw it on your monitor and press mute. Because I think this is definitely, them trying to gauge interest. So even if maybe, the meta game isn't to your liking, if you want to see more stuff like this, so you can either watch it or potentially participate in the future, I'd recommend supporting that if that's your kind of thing. That's kind of why I'm playing in it, is I would like them to do more of this stuff. I think it's cool, even if I think the meta game isn't the best for it for the first event. But I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna bring Arrow in some deck and see what happens.
Like an arrow cannonball deck kind of thing.
Do we know what the bounty is at by chance? Oh, for the global event, they announced the bounty hit 10 million today, which is like the third reward. They've been posting about that on social media, like
I
whenever.
better get the Series 5 card from that, or I'll be grumpy.
Yeah. Right now, I think it's unlikely we're gonna hit the pack, but you never know how much maybe people go hard on the second half of it. I think we're gonna at least get the currencies and the variants and stuff, so we'll see. But yeah, we're at like 10 million right now, I think I think they posted that today.
Yeah, well, it'll be really interesting when we meet up again to get a recount of your experience. I know Safety Blade is actually participating as well, so if the stars align and the
Oh, did he
schedules
sign
work
up?
out.
I thought the timing didn't work out for him.
Oh, really? I thought he was going to do it. Maybe he decided not to in the end. Oh,
I
then
think
it'll
he,
just.
I think he was gonna do it, but then I think it's like 2 a.m. his time or something.
Oh, yeah,
Oh.
because the
Like a
world
time zone
revolves around the
thing.
East Coast. Yeah,
Yeah. So I don't
and
know if he's
his
listening or not.
yeah,
Um,
and his toilets flush backwards. So yeah.
yeah, but it's neat to see, and we'll see how the event goes. And I'm hoping they do a good job with like the production side. And I'm genuinely curious to see how much interest there is in people watching that kind of stuff. Because
I'll
Snap has
definitely.
never been very. I feel like they've always pushed Snap as a much more casual game. So like, I'm curious to see, are there enough people who care about like a competitive element to support this, or no, or I don't know. I guess
You
we'll
know,
see.
I really, I really don't know. You know what I'll do? I'm going to see that person whom I work with in the office on Wednesday, because we have an in-person event, and I will ask them if he is even aware of this tournament.
I don't think they've. I don't know if they've done any advertising at all in game. I think it is purely. Hey, maybe y'all have seen it from my video. I did a video on it.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
there you go.
but
Maybe.
I don't think they've done too much advertising for it, other than like Discord or Twitter. I don't know if they put anything in the game about it. I
Yeah,
imagine they
it's
will on the
weird.
day of,
Hmm.
for
Well,
like, hey, go watch the stream or whatever. But yeah, I don't think they've advertised it in game yet. But it is cool that there are a lot of like random community members participating, and they actually expanded the community participation slots because they had more people submit than they were expecting. So that was cool.
oh, that augurs well then.
So yeah,
Good,
we'll see
good
how it
sign.
goes. But
Good.
Yeah.
it would be very neat if this was something they did more regularly. Because I really do think like if they did an event like this right after a new season or right after a new OTA, that would be like really exciting and fun. And I think it'd be a good way to get the more involved people, like just give them something to be excited about. And
Well, your chat seems interested, so that's good. You know, uh, yeah, yeah, it would be really interesting to hear your thoughts on that. So, the next time we flexibly schedule ourselves to talk about Snap on this flexibly scheduled podcast, definitely that'll be a topic
we'll
of
probably have
conversation.
an OTA to talk about the tournament stuff. I imagine it'll be the start of the new season, so there'll be probably a lot to talk about next time.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, well, until then, I hope that you guys find success, or if not success, at least peace on ladder. I know you're going to try to make that final push, Nate. I
I'll
suspect
get
you'll
there.
get there this month. I mean, I think you just didn't get there last month because you just simply didn't play because, real life.
By the time I played, it was like I had like 3 days left, and it was just
Yeah, the last minute rush.
it was
That's
not
always the
good.
worst. Yeah. Yeah, you had some real bad beats. You were giving Lee a run for their money.
Sad.
All right. Well,
Right.
I think this will be a good enough place to stop. I want to thank you all for listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or watching us on YouTube. Or big shout out to those who actually sat with us live, especially since we flexibly scheduled our cameras to not function. I know that kind of takes down the engagement. So really appreciate you all sticking around to hear us yak about Snap.
Very much
And
appreciate it. Yeah.
until next time, we will invite you all to keep it Cosmo.
Yep. Keep it Cosmo.
Keep it Cosmo. Oh, where's my bumper? Enough said, bub.
Enough said, Bob.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah, to improvise.
Enough said, bub.
Oh, there you go. I liked your version better, Nate.
Yeah, you got more gruff in your voice.
It was good.